Round 5 of the Mish Wessex Cyclocross League, and we are underway. And your standard pretty average start from yourself, but Boney and Nick got an absolute banger of a start, and I just jumped straight on Boney's wheel. And the hitters were out today. So on the left you can see Adrian moving up, and then I think just on his wheel is Sam Allen as well. Now I'm going to pause it here. I know we are only 23 seconds into this race, but if we could just take a minute to appreciate the fact that I am on, or as close as I will ever be, to a world champion's wheel. Respect the man, think what you want. 23 seconds, what a legend. But that is it. That is about all you're going to see of his back wheel, and we'll get back underway. So just coming up into the first corner, I think here the guys start to ramp it up. Eli comes on my left and I have to slow down a little bit. Nick's on my right, and I'm thinking I need to get back to Boney's wheel, get on that front group and just bury myself. But coming down here, you have to slam on the brakes. Now I could not get this corner for toffee. I was terrible round this corner, and look at the gap the front three have opened up already. It's not massive, so instantly I panic and think I've got to rip it now, shut that gap down, get on the front, boys. And we've got Adrian, Sam Allen and Dave now on the front, and I'm just clinging on for dear life. Thankfully Oscar is not here this week. He has given me a week off, so thank God for that. But coming down this section, it was absolutely full gas. I think people must have been running out of gears down here, because it was just we were absolutely flying down here. And then you come into a little wooded section. Now I cannot believe it, we are 90 seconds in, and although there's a tiny gap in front of me, I'm still with the lead group. Your man is flying off the line. This is probably the furthest I've got, I reckon. I'll have to look back because I can't remember exactly, but I think this is the furthest I've got with the front group. So we are in for a treat today, and more than likely you're about to see the wheels absolutely come off in a second. But down through the little wooded section, and this course was an absolute brute. There was so much climbing, it was physical. I think I nearly got in like 600 meters of climbing in an hour. But just here you can see AD at the front starting to wind it up, and Dave Bones noticed that and thought he needs to go with it, shut down that gap straight away. You cannot let that man get an inch. He's an animal, end of story. So Boney closes it down straight away, and thankfully Sam gets on it as well. Like, this here was where it started to hurt me. We're 2 minutes 45 in, and for some reason I decided to be a hero. Just here I saw a gap opening, and I thought the race is up there, your man's got to close that and go with it. And I absolutely buried myself trying to close this gap down. And these two in front, Boney won the league last year, AD is vet world champion and national champion. The bloke's a machine. They are both machines. They're pulling away, and I think it was just here, not this corner, it was the next corner. But tell you what, 3 minutes, that is as close to the front as I've been for 3 minutes, especially with these boys. But coming out this corner, it hit hard. I was like, oh my days, what have I done? I have got 1 hour to go and the wheels are about to fall off, and you're going to see what happens in a minute. I mean, I'm still absolutely working my backside off, but that is the end of the race for me. Well, the end of the front of the race. You will not see AD and Dave again. They were on another level today. They were just full gas, pulling the pin. The power those boys have, absolutely phenomenal. Power, bike handling skills, you've got to have it all. But yeah, as I was saying, this course was just savage. So this was probably the only point where you got a bit of a rest. Coming down through here, this little descent, I'm going to play the full first lap, and then I'll jump into the exciting action. But at this point you can see the two that have gone off the front, and now I'm in third. I've got Sam on my wheel, and I also think Andrew was just closing the gap on us. I raced him on the Thursday night one when he went past me, tapped his bum like an absolute steam train to get on, and I couldn't get on his wheel then. But anyway, these little bits, they don't look like much, but they really do zap the legs. Like, it's just like a gradual draggy climb, and every time you're just like, God, I got to do this again. I think we done maybe 9 laps in this race. It was over an hour in the end. It was like an hour and 6 minutes of pure torture. But I took that corner terribly there, and I've found that I am worse when I've got people on my wheel when I'm going around the corners, because you feel so much pressure. And I haven't actually like fully met Sam Allen, who's on my wheel before, but about 3 years ago, he was the guy winning, when I first got into cross, he was the guy winning the league. And I was like, man, I wish I could be that good. So to be in front of him for a split second, I'm sure he'll never see this video, but to be in front of him for a split second, I was like, I've made it. I've made it. Tell the wife when I get home, I've made it. But here comes Hilly McHillface, I think they call this. This was savage. The muddy section, and then it kicked up really steep here. Absolute burner on the legs. And doing this like 9 times, Jesus. Look, you can see I'm struggling to get over the top of it there. It absolutely shelled me every time. But that was the main climb. We then come down past the pits. You can see on the left we've got Adi and Boney. They're not like a million miles away. It doesn't look like it anyway, but in terms of cross, that's a big gap already. Like, you're not going to close that down, but you can see Eli and the chasers there on the left, and I have still got Sam and Andrew on my wheel. So this is the main descent back down to the bottom start area. We absolutely fly down here. It's quite bumpy. This is where it's Carnage Corner. There's a couple of times I slipped out round here, and you're like, easy tiger. But just here is where my legs got torn off by Andrew. He comes round on the left, and he's like, I think he said something like, jump on, let's work together, we can shut this down. I'm thinking, no, 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 sir. There is no way in hell these tiny little piddly legs are shutting anything down. But he comes round me here, and I'm like, I've got to jump on, because he'll pull me away from anyone that's chasing behind, and I'm in a bad way at the moment. I should not have closed that gap, or tried to close that gap on lap 1. He's putting me in the hurt box, and those little switchbacks were brutal. And as I said, I could not ride this next corner for toffee, and this is where it all went to pot. Coming into here, I had an absolute stinker. Slip, down he goes, absolute numpty, gaps open. By the time I faffed around trying to get clipped in, I'm then trying to accelerate to get back on the wheel, and that's it. I did not see them boys again. Look, Sam pulls a little effort in there to close it down to Andrew. That was the worst timing to make that mistake. And then to top it off, just here, I think it's just here, Charlie from Stolen Goat comes past me like an absolute steam train down here. And I've raced him a few times on the road scene. The bloke's an animal. And he came past me, and I was like, I can't go with that. How's he going this fast? I was like, my God. So I've gone from 3rd place battle to now dropping back to 6th because of one, burying myself like a numpty on the first lap. But the only way you're going to learn and get as fast as these guys on the front sometimes is just try and go with it. And that's what I'm trying to do. I want to win one of these Wessex League races. I've put it out there. And if I can't go with the front of the race, it's game over, isn't it? But anyway, I worked my backside off trying to shut it down to Charlie, but I was in a bad way here now. And you can see he actually starts to put a gap into me now. So at this point, I know it's really hard to recover because you're in a cyclocross race, but my goal now is to try and recover, get my legs firing again, because I did bury myself. You can see the heart rates come down a little bit, and it was because just my legs were burning. They were screaming at me, and I say to my dad after, I'm like, is everyone else in this same pain that I'm in? please tell me, is everyone else's legs hurting as much as mine? Because it was torture, this bit. But anyway, Charlie started to put a bit of a gap into me, and I was so I was sitting in 6th place, and I was like, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to panic. I'm just going to keep working, never give up, and try and slowly claw him back in. So as I start to recover, I felt like my strong sections were on the climbs, his strong sections were on the flats. So I've jumped forward to the climb here, and look at this. I closed that gap down so quick because I was really good at the climb, but then I make the schoolboy error. This is pathetic. When you go over the top, you keep pressing on. If Dad had seen that, he'd have gone nuts. Look, I absolutely ripped it up the climb, and then I got lazy, but you can see the boys on the left. I've jumped forward now. Yet again, here's that corner that I was riding like an absolute numpty. But I was still in touch with like 3rd, 4th, and 5th at this point, so I was trying to work to close that gap down. I was trying to do whatever I could, but as we come here, I then lose another place. I don't know who this guy is. I think it's that Team Primer Jobs. I'm not sure what the team's called, but he was absolutely steaming past me, and then an absolute nightmare for him. He drops his chain, like terrible time. There was some like roots down there, so I did take the place back, and we're back in 6th place. Now the goal is 5th place for the podium. At this point, I was like, if I can get 5th place, I'll be absolutely over the moon now, because I buried myself, the wheels fell off, I absolutely blew my biscuit, but I could still see 5th place, and Charlie was just in front. And when we come round this corner, you can see the gap here. He is just going round that top corner now. So I was like, here's my chance. Up the climb, rip it again, shut the gap down, get on his wheel. I'm like literally just on his wheel, and what do again? I ease off the gas, you numpty. As soon as you go over the top, carry on giving it the ponies. That was shocking. Twice in a row I done that. But then the gap's not massive now, and I was thinking, if I keep working, you can see here, he's just going around that corner. The problem was, every time that I sort of closed the gap down on him, a bloody straight came, and he was just so powerful on the straights. He was just absolutely shifting. So then down here, we came into this wooded section, and he got held up a little bit by a back marker. So thank you to whoever this is. You are a living legend, because I managed to, I know I shouldn't be praising that, but it's just unfortunate timing. I managed to close the gap down, and I sat on his wheel for a little bit, and I thought I'll get some recovery in, and I was feeling like good again. I was like, I'm gonna see how he's feeling, and I'm just gonna go for it and press on. So out of here, I just thought, sod it, I'm gonna go to the front, I'm gonna press on and see if he goes with it. And he did go with it initially, but then I was absolutely pushing the pace. I was pushing the limits of what I've ever ridden down that descent at in cross. But coming into this hill, I think he made a mistake behind me, and Lindy on the side there did say, oh, you've got a little bit of a gap now. So I was like, rip the absolute head off it, just go for it up this climb, and this time do not be pathetic when you get to the top. Press on. And I pressed on past pits, and you're going to see the gap I put in just here. You can see now Charlie's on the left there. So I did manage to put a fairly sizable gap into him. The front of the race, obviously 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th, I knew that was completely out of reach now. We were like 30 minutes in, we were halfway through the race, and when you're going around the course, you can see at points that they're slowly making time on you. But that was the good thing about the course, is I could also see if I was making ground on Charlie. So you could see him there on the left, and every little corner I felt like I was making, like, it wasn't much, it was maybe a few meters here, a few meters there, and that kept me pushing on, just because I wanted to get that 5th place. I wanted to get in the money. So we're coming, this was the hardest bit of the race here for me. I came through the finish line and saw 3 laps to go, and I thought, I could go up that climb another 3 times. Give me a break. But in all honesty, I was getting up there really well, so I was super pleased with that. I managed to press on. I think we're going to jump forward now. This is the last lap, so just coming in up through the twisty section that you've seen a few times that I've been having an absolute nightmare on, and it was at this point I knew I'd secured 5th place because I think I could see Charlie over on the right. And then we're just coming into the final corner and I could see Rob just ahead, and I thought, should I go for it and try and beat him to the line? And I saw him looking over his shoulder panicking, but I didn't have the berries. And then I came over the line in 5th place. That was 5th place. I nabbed the final spot on the podium, or next to the podium, whatever you want to call it. But I was super pleased with the performance. There was some strong riders today. More work to do. But I will continue to bury myself every weekend in the quest to stand on that top step. And next up, I'm going to be dabbling out of my comfort zone and going to round 1 of the national trophy. So pray for my legs because they are going to get destroyed. But I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.